experience when the internet was opened up in China. I was at that time the Minister for Information regulating the internet in Singapore. They sent a high-level delegation of many ministers to Singapore as my guests. For 1 week, they did nothing else but work, morning, afternoon, evening. They didn't go shopping, they didn't go sightseeing. By the end, they left. They knew aspects of Singapore that I did not know or that I did not care to know. And I was mystified. I said, why did they do that? Predictable because the legacy is too voluminous. So when the Chinese say, we prefer multipolar world, even though they may be the biggest of the pole, they mean it in their own self-interest. China, the US, with India, they've not done badly. You don't judge a society by how thick its billionaire class is or how well they live. You judge a society by the condition of its bottom 10%. And I would say that the bottom 10% of people living in China fare better than the bottom 10% of any other major country on earth. So is that democracy? Is that not democracy? I think it's something worth discussing.
欢迎来到胤蓝智库。最近有个特别有意思的现象，国际舆论天天炒作中国威胁论，但现实中呢，哪怕几个小国都敢在我们的底线上反复横跳。大家为什么一边喊着怕中国，一边又笃定中国绝不会开第一枪？今天咱们就借一位顶尖智库大脑的视角，把这个局盘清楚。今年6月，新加坡前外长杨荣文在欧洲的一场对话中，用极强的逻辑，当着西方人的面，把中国的大国行为模式讲得透透的。作为深谙东西方文明的第三观察者，他的这番话堪称降维打击。面对西方的观众关于民主与尊重的刁钻，杨老先生一针见血，评判一个社会好不好，别看富人多有钱，得看底层10%的人过得怎么样。而中国在这点上做得比任何大国都要好。他共点破了一个深层逻辑，中国根本不想当什么世界霸主，因为对于一个有着2000年大一统历史的文明来说，盲目扩张只会带来不可控的内部麻烦。从造纸术的历史影响聊到今天的人工智能，从打破西方虚伪的民主滤镜到拆解大国博弈的底层密码，这段没有半句废话的高端局绝对值得你耐心看完。
It will not be multipolar. That if America declines, China will take over. And indeed, China's economy has already overtaken the American economy in PPP terms by a significant margin. But this misunderstands the nature of China. You know, when the Americans blithely talk about G2, the Chinese protest. They don't want it, not because they're modest, but because it means trouble. If your aspiration is to be a global hegemon, your problems are endless. And in their own history, because they're big enough and homogeneous enough, it's better to build walls and to keep trouble out. Every dynasty rebuilds walls in China. And in the People's Republic, there are new walls for Hollywood movies, for publications, for the internet, even for viruses. Why? Because China, to protect its own homogeneity, needs to keep out and control foreign influence. If you expand, like the British people once did, and you incorporate vast realms, in the end, the external proletariat becomes your internal proletariat, and your society will change, for the good and for the ill. They don't want that. Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, they are not like London, New York, or Paris. They are homogeneous. And this homogeneity is both a strength and a weakness of China. So when the Chinese say that they have no wish to be a global hegemon, it is not a tactical statement. It's because they think it's foolish, it's unwise. Their own historical experiences teach them that it's better to confine your development within the wall. And that is why they've always talked about the internal circulation, which is protected, and the external circulation, which is subject to all kinds of turbulence because of global politics. The question is, how enduring is this position? This position is enduring because of the nature of Chinese society and the fact that for a population twice that of Europe, they have one literature, one set of heroes, and a history which is marked by long amplitudes, long ascent, long declines. If you're born at the wrong time, it's just your bad luck. But if you're born at the right time, well, that's your good fortune. How did this come about, the homogeneity of the Chinese people? One, of course, is the fact that the written language is separated from its pronunciation. That gives it a fixed value, a digital quality. Today, primary school children in China can recite verses from Confucius' Analects in the original. They can read the characters. Their pronunciation is different from what it was 2,000 years ago, but it's the same content. And it's across a vast realm. And the other accident in Chinese history is paper. Paper was invented in China more than 2,000 years ago. And it was a closely guarded secret, the technology to make paper, until the 8th century, when in the famous battle in Central Asia, the Chinese army lost during the Tang Dynasty, China's greatest dynasty, and the knowledge to make paper leaked to the Islamic world. And paper transformed the Islamic world. Paper, 8th century. By the year 1000, it reached Cairo. By the year 1002, it reached Muslim Spain. The Islamic script, the Renaissance in Islam, was all made possible by paper. Why is paper important? Paper is important for the storage and processing of information. You watch a Chinese artist with brush, ink, and paper. How many paintings he can draw in an hour? If you had to use a paintbrush and canvas, you could be at it for weeks. When you record on paper and ink black, which consists of nanoparticles, the speed is orders of magnitude greater than writing with a hard nib and parchment. So the recording of Chinese history is voluminous. Alan Turing, I think whose ancestry was Scottish, he had this insight that if you have an unlimited quantity of paper, you can do an unlimited quantity of algorithmic computation. Therefore, to codify knowledge, therefore, to organize, therefore, to organize more people across time and space, irrigation works, storage of grain, political control, communication, the recording of climatic change, of water levels. When COVID happened, the Chinese told their own people, do not worry. We have a complete record of every epidemic in China going going back 2,500 years. Every epidemic. This data intensity of Chinese society makes it particularly conservative.
欢迎回到英兰智库。刚才的这段对话，杨荣文先生把话说得很透。中国的克制源于文化基因里的自我保护机制，而不是什么战略演示。但当我们把这个逻辑放回现实中，一个巨大的战略风险浮出了水面。既然中国这么克制，为什么周边摩擦反而越来越多？无论是卡我们的芯片，扣我们的矿产，还是在仁爱礁赖着不走，这些国家的底层逻辑是一样的。他们在切香肠，所有的人都在赌中国为了和平发展会把稳字当头，只要单次挑衅不跨过战争这条红线，他们就敢今天改个规矩，明天派艘小船一点一点蚕食我们的利益。他们算准了我们愿意承受这种短期的损失。从长远来看，动武确实不是最优解，战争的负面成本太大，但是克制绝不等于战略层面上被动挨打。英兰智库认为，面对这种灰色地带的挑衅，中国现在最紧迫需要的是建立一套清晰且稳定的代价机制。你敢违约卡我们的企业，我们就用绝对的市场体量把你踢出局；你在海上越线，我就用巨大的体量优势对你进行常态化高压斩压，对你常态化高压碾压。力量不一定每一次体现为炮火连天，但只要对手伸了黑手，我们就必须让他付出真金白银切肤之痛的代价。只要让挑衅的成本远远大于收益，才能建立真正长久的平衡。建立这套代价机制，你认为我们哪一个环节还需要更硬气一点？欢迎在评论区留下你理性的判断。这里是胤蓝智库，我们下期深度拆解，我们下期见。